Hello dear students. In the previous lecture we have seen the theory of UV visible spectroscopy, Beer-Lambert's law, and some of the important terms involved in the UV visible spectroscopy. Now in this particular lecture we are going to study the modes of electronic transitions in UV visible spectroscopy and some of the important terms involved in UV visible spectroscopy. This is the slide which shows the modes of electronic transitions in UV visible spectroscopy. We know that in UV visible spectroscopy, electronic transitions take place from lower energy level to the higher energy level. Now generally in organic compound, there are two types of bond. One is sigma bond and another is pi bond. So the electronic transitions that are taking place, they also involve the sigma electrons and pi electrons. Now in this figure we can see the different types of electronic transitions that are taking place. Now first we will see the sigma to sigma star electronic transitions. As the sigma bonding orbital is there and there is also sigma star anti-bonding orbital. Sigma bonding orbital or the electrons present in the sigma bonding orbital, they have very less energy, least energy, whereas sigma star anti-bonding orbital, that is having very high energy. Now when the electronic transitions take place from sigma bonding to the sigma star, you will see the energy gap here, and the energy gap suggests that that is the large energy gap, the huge energy gap. So the energy required for the sigma to sigma star transition will be also very high energy, and therefore very shorter wavelength is required to transfer the electron from sigma bonding orbital to the sigma star antibonding orbital. Now we will see the N to sigma star transitions. Now N means here non-bonding electrons. The electrons which are not involved in the bonding, or generally these electrons are present on the heteroatom. They are also called as lone pair of electrons or unshared electron pairs present on the heteroatom like nitrogen, oxygen, sulfur and halogen. So when such type of atoms are there, then there is a possibility of N to sigma star transition. Now this uh, N to sigma star transitions require less energy as compared to the sigma to sigma star, because the energy gap is somewhat less as compared to the sigma to sigma star. Then we will come to the pi to pi star transitions. Now for pi to pi star transitions, the electrons must be the pi electrons, means that compound must have double bond or triple bond, that is unsaturation must be present in that compound. Then and then only pi to pi star transition will take place. So the energy required for this pi to pi star transition is again less as compared to the N to sigma star and sigma to sigma star, because the energy gap is here somewhat less as compared to the N to sigma star and sigma to sigma star. Then the last transition, that is the N to pi star transition. So for this electronic transition, that is N to pi star, the compound must have the non-bonding electrons, that is it must have the heteroatom with the double bond or triple bond, that is pi electrons also required there. Then and then N to pi star transition take place. Now if we see the energy gap here, the energy gap is very less, or least we can say, as compared to the all these transitions. The energy gap is very less, and therefore the wavelength required will be somewhat more. As energy gap is less, the wavelength required will be more. The longer wavelength is sufficient to transfer the electron from non-bonding to the pi star antibonding. So these are the modes of electronic transitions involved in the UV visible spectroscopy. Now this gives the idea about the energy required for electronic transitions. So the highest energy required for the sigma to sigma star, then less energy than the sigma to sigma star required for the n to sigma star, whereas n to pi star require least energy because of the less energy gap. Now we will see one by one these electronic transitions. So first we will see the sigma to sigma star. Now from the previous figure we are aware that it requires high energy due to the high energy gap. Absorption takes place at very short wavelength. We know the relation that short wavelength means high energy. So here absorption takes place at very short wavelength in far UV region, because in far UV region the range of wavelength is very short, therefore the short wavelength has very high energy. The examples are saturated hydrocarbons like CH4, C2H6 and other paraffins, where only sigma bonds are present. As there are sigma bonds means sigma electrons are present, and the sigma electrons can be transferred from sigma to sigma star. So therefore the saturated compounds are the examples for the sigma to sigma star, because all these saturated compound contain the sigma electrons in their sigma bonds. Absorption is beyond the range of ordinary spectrophotometer and cannot be recorded. Hence, N-hexane can be used as a solvent for UV visible spectroscopy. Now, there is a requirement for the solvent. We can use different types of solvent, but here we can use N-hexane, and N-hexane is the saturated hydrocarbon. Therefore, it will not interfere with the sample compound of which the UV spectroscopy has to be taken. Therefore, we can use N-hexane as it will not interfere in the reading. That's why that is one of the requirement we can say. Because of the presence of sigma electrons, there is only possibility of sigma to sigma star electronic transitions, and we can use in the spectrophotometer. Then the n to sigma star transitions. Now in the figure that we have seen, it requires less energy than sigma to sigma star. It is obvious from the previous figure that the energy gap is somewhat less as compared to the sigma to sigma star. Compounds containing non-bonding or unshared electrons present on the heteroatoms such as oxygen, nitrogen, sulfur and halogens, etc. The examples are here: alcohols, this is the CH3OH molecule, amines, alkylamines, etc. Now you can see here the lone pair of electrons. On oxygen there are two lone pair of electrons or two unshared electron pair, whereas nitrogen has one lone pair of electron or one unshared electron pair. And therefore non-bonding electrons are available, and that's why n to sigma star is possible. The molar extinction coefficients for this transition, that is epsilon, are very small, hence absorption is very weak. The molar extinction coefficient gives the idea about the absorption. If it is higher value, then it means that the absorption is stronger. If it has very low value, then we can say that absorption is very weak. As in the range of n to sigma star, the molar extinction coefficients are very small, and that's why absorption is found very weak. Then the next electronic transition, that is the pi to pi star. It requires less energy than sigma to sigma star and n to sigma star. The examples are here. Compounds containing unsaturation, double or triple bonds undergo this type of transitions. So that is the requirement here. Double or triple bond should be there because the pi electrons are present in the pi bond. So double bond or triple bond, they contain the pi electrons, and there is a possibility of pi to pi star transition. If you see the examples, unsaturated hydrocarbons like ethene, propene, these are the examples where pi to pi star transition is possible. Molecules containing two or more conjugated double bonds absorb about 200 nanometer and recorded by normal spectrophotometer. So the energy gap is somewhat less as compared to the sigma to sigma star and n to sigma star. Therefore, they will absorb at somewhat longer wavelength, that is above the 200 nanometer, and that can be easily recorded or easily found by the normal spectrophotometer. We can easily get the readings of these compounds. And the last one is about the n to pi star. Now n means here the non-bonding electrons. So the compounds must have double bond as well as heteroatom which will have lone pair of electrons. Now the examples are, suppose if there is carbonyl group, thiocarbonyl group, carbon double bond nitrogen, or this nitroso group, that is N double bond O. In all these groups, the unsaturation is present, means there is a presence of pi bond and pi electrons, as well as there is a presence of heteroatom which have lone pair of electrons on them, and that's why N to pi star transition is possible. This transition requires minimum energy, least energy we can say, hence shows absorption at longer wavelength. Because the energy gap is very small, so to transfer the electron from this non-bonding orbital to the pi star orbital, it requires very least energy because of the very short energy gap or very less energy gap. Now, if we observe the energy order required for the transition, that will be like this. So sigma to sigma star will require more energy, highest energy among all these electronic transitions. N to sigma star will require higher energy than pi to pi star, n to pi star, but less than sigma to sigma star. Whereas pi to pi star requires higher energy as compared to n to pi star, but uh, less energy as compared to n to sigma star and sigma to sigma star. And when it comes to the n to pi star, it is found that n to pi star will have, it requires least energy. So remember this energy order. N to pi star requires least energy because of the short energy gap, whereas sigma to sigma star requires high energy because of the high energy gap. So this energy order is very important. So for taking place the n to pi star electronic transitions, longer wavelength is required, whereas for sigma to sigma star, the shorter wavelength is required. Now in this particular slide, we will see the terms involved in UV visible spectroscopy. Now first we will see the chromophore. Now this particular word chromophore is derived from the Greek word, that is chromo means color and phore means bearing. So generally whenever such groups are present in the organic compound gets colored or become colored, and therefore it is called as chromophore. If we see the scientific definition of the chromophore, a chromophore is an unsaturated group of a molecule that undergoes pi to pi star transition as well as n to pi star transition by absorbing in UV or visible region. So generally what happens, pi to pi star and n to pi star electronic transitions take place due to the presence of chromophore in that compound, and it is uh, in the UV or visible region. The wavelength will be somewhat longer because it comes under the visible region or UV region, which is having the longer wavelength. The compounds containing chromophore is called as chromogen. So the compound, suppose it contains that chromophore in it, then we will call that compound as a chromogen. We can divide chromophore into two types. First, there is the chromophores in which double bond is between two carbon atoms. For example, alkenes and alkynes like acetylene. They show only pi to pi star transition. So these compounds are having only double bonds or triple bonds, that is unsaturation. And the possible electronic transition is only pi to pi star because of the presence of pi bond. Then another chromophores are those chromophores in which olefinic bond involves one or both heteroatoms. So heteroatoms are required for these chromophores as well as unsaturation, that is double bond or triple bond. So here carbonyl group which is having double bond as well as oxygen which is a lone pair of electrons, that is non-bonding electrons are there. This is carbon double bond nitrogen, N double bond nitrogen, that is called as diazo group. So these chromophore groups possess double bond as well as non-bonding electrons in them. Therefore, they show both transitions, that is pi to pi star due to the presence of pi bond as well as N to pi star transition due to the presence of non-bonding electron or lone pair of electron present on the heteroatom. They show both the electronic transitions. C6H5N double bond N, that is phenyl diazonium chloride, that will be an example where N double bond N is present as a chromophore. The another important term involved in the visible spectroscopy is called as auxochrome. Now, auxochrome is an atom or saturated group of a molecule containing non-bonded or lone pair of electrons. So auxochrome means here the atom or saturated group in the molecule which contains non-bonded or lone pair of electrons. So the requirement of non-bonded or lone pair of electron is very important in case of auxochrome. Now what is the role of auxochrome? When coupled to a chromogen, it shifts the absorption to longer wavelength and increases the intensity of absorption. So that is the main role of auxochrome. When it is coupled to the chromogen, it shifts the absorption to the longer wavelength and increases the intensity of absorption. Another important role, that is they help in extending the conjugation in chromophore, which greatly lower the transition energy and shift the absorption to the longer wavelength. So how actually it shifts absorption to the longer wavelength, that can be understood by this, that is they help in extending the conjugation, and therefore the energy gap between the pi to pi star or N to pi star electronic transition gets lower, and as the energy gap is lower means they will require the less energy for transfer of electrons from one energy level to the high energy level, and that's why less energy means longer wavelength, and that's why they shift the absorption to the longer wavelength. The examples of some auxochromes are hydroxyl group OH, where this oxygen is there, two lone pair of electrons, or alkoxy groups, two lone pair of electrons on the oxygen, thiol group where sulfur is present, then this chlorine which is having lone pair of electrons, nitrogen, this NHR group, the bromine. So these are some examples of the auxochrome. Now we will see how actually this works by taking one example, that is of the benzene here. Now this benzene, if we take the reading, then we will find that its lambda max value is 254 nanometer, 254 nanometer. Now if we see the lambda max value of aniline, 280 nanometer. Now look at these two structures here. This is the benzene and this is the aniline. What is the difference? The difference is only here NH2 group. We have attached NH2 group as oxochrome. So NH2 group here acts as oxochrome. Due to the addition of NH2 group, we will see this difference, that is 280 nanometer. Now from 254 nanometer to the 280 nanometer. So it is shifted to the longer wavelength. So we can say this is the longer wavelength as compared to the 254 nanometer. And this is because of the introduction of NH2 group to the benzene ring. Now how actually it works? There is one lone pair of nitrogen. We know that this is one lone pair of electron present on the nitrogen. Now this lone pair of electron involves in the conjugation, or we can say the delocalization. So they participate in the delocalization, and as it participates the delocalization, these electrons can move from one atom to the another by lowering the energy gap. So pi to pi star energy gap of the benzene still get lower, and due to the lowering of the energy gap, it shifts to the longer wavelength. So that is the reason why we get the longer wavelength due to the presence of oxochrome. Now in this particular part too, we will study up to this, and some of the another concepts are there that we will see in the next lecture.